All right, it's working. It's working. We're live. Welcome back, party people, to the Carly Lynn channel. Today, we're going to be talking about gaslighting. Now, this is a term that's gained a lot of traction over the last couple of years, but almost to a point where people don't really understand what it is, where it came from, or why it's so important to talk about. So first, where did the term gaslighting come from? This is actually from a play, I want to say in the 1950s. Was it before that? Oh my gosh, usually I have these facts on hand and my brain is just going blank. But it's essentially from a play where a man slowly manipulates his wife by turning the gas lights down in the house little by little over time, to where he would turn it down and she'd be like, what's happening? Like, is it dark in here? And he'd go, babe, no, are you okay? It's definitely bright. From the point of doing a little bit at a time to all of a sudden it was so dark she could hardly see, and she thought she was going crazy. So, gaslighting, by definition, is to manipulate someone by psychological means into questioning their own sanity. Oh, this plays a massive part in abusive relationships, and it's so important to notice and recognize and call out because it's the first thing that the abuser is going to do. Of course, my nose itches every time I go live. It drives me crazy. But this is the first thing an abuser is going to do, because what if you trust yourself and you trust your gut and your instincts, they can't win. There's nothing that they can do to you because you're going to go, hold up. No, I know that's not true, and I know it didn't happen that way. When they slowly over time gaslight you into thinking that you can't trust reality in front of you, the only other person left to trust is them. So my definition of gaslighting modified a bit from the actual dictionary definition is manipulating someone into believing that the reality they are experiencing isn't their real reality. Sorry about turning my head, y'all. My desk is very small and I've got an outline, so I stay on task. So hopefully I don't rabbit trail too much. But the reason that I switch it up a little bit is because, yes, it's manipulation by psychological means, but really, we need to be really clear on what it is and how it impacts us. And when we see that they're literally shifting our perception of reality, so we don't even trust the ground we walk on, we don't trust what's in our hands, we don't trust what we see, they can begin to take control. An example of this is basically telling you that the sky isn't blue, it's green, and arguing about it to where you're convinced that you can't see the sky properly. All the way to making you feel like it's your fault that they did something. If they hit you, if they assaulted you, if they didn't care about your consent, it's your fault. That is gaslighting. There's also a form of gaslighting, which is going to be its own dedicated life, which is chronic victimization. And this is where you come to them and say, hey, this really bothered me. And their immediate response is, well, I'm just the absolute worst. Why are you with me? I guess I should just go unalive myself. Right? Again, making it about them to where you feel like it's your fault. And you go, man, I shouldn't have said anything. I shouldn't bring it up. And this is my fault. And So this is why recognizing gaslighting is so freaking important. So let me get back on track here. So the term gaslighting was actually made an actual psychological term in the 1970s. Why is this important? Before then, it was not recognized to be an actual thing. And even nowadays, people don't take the word gaslighting seriously because it's used to a point where people think it's just a part of normal jargon and normal language, and it's used so out of context that no one realizes the drastic effects of it. Very similar to the word triggered. This word can mean a lot of things. It could be triggered like an actual gun. It could be triggered like you triggered an emotion in me because of my own trauma. Or it could be triggered as in someone who has PTSD, like a veteran who experiences a firework. They are triggered, and in their mind, their brain's back in the war and they don't realize where they're at. But when people get angry and upset and they just throw the word triggered around like it's no big deal, it diminishes the word. It takes away the meaning of it. So those of us who need that word to communicate our struggles and where we're stuck, we get left in the dust because it's just an exaggeration. God, Karen, she's so triggered. Snowflakes are so triggered. Can you tell I'm passionate about this? It grinds my gears, y'all. So, staying on track. So, like I mentioned, gaslighting can be physical manipulation, like turning down the gas lights. It can be the manipulation of the sky is not blue, it's green. What are you talking about? To making you believe that their feelings are your responsibility and their actions are your fault. Other forms of gaslighting that need to be recognized, and these are big examples of, are things like, oh my God, it's not that bad. Get over it. Meaning your feelings aren't important. You are over-exaggerating. Your feelings are wrong. Your reaction is wrong. You are inconveniencing me. So just get over it. Oh my God, it's not like I hit you. Just let it go. Oh, this could be a video in and of itself. And heck, now that I say that, maybe I will make it one. This one frustrates the hell out of me because, one, physical abuse is not the only form of abuse. If you follow me on social at carly.lynn, or if you've watched my videos, if you listen to the podcast, you know this is a big deal for me. Because yes, I am a victim of physical abuse and I've experienced that in my life on more than one occasion. But the thing that really screwed me up was the non-physical abuse, was the gaslighting and the manipulation and the dehumanizing and the taking away of my self-worth. And that screwed my brain. And this is in no way taking away from the fact that physical abuse is absolutely abuse and it is damaging and it can screw with your brain. But for me and the women that I have worked with in most cases, we have been impacted more so by how our brain has been scarred than how our body has been scarred. And so this can be in a case of where my ex in high school, he would punch the pillow or he would punch the wall. He would react or scream at me and then act like because he didn't hit me, I shouldn't be bothered. Even though those are major red flags, we are told that it's no big deal to just get over it. We should be lucky. We should be happy that at least they didn't hit us. Gotta climb off my soapbox for that one. It's not that big of a deal. This goes right along with, just get over it. It's not that big of a deal. This could be something where you are trying to communicate that you are bothered by something a coworker did, a friend did, a family member did, or you could be talking to the toxic person themselves and they go, oh my God, just get over it. It's no big deal. You are overreacting. It's not like I got in your face. It's not like, you're covered in bruises. All of these things. It's diminishing our sense of psychological safety and making us feel like our feelings, our reactions, our normal responses are wrong, which leads to us going one of two directions or a mix of both in my case, where you either get so submissive and so, have such a big desire to give whatever it is that they want that you allow people to walk all over you. Or you reach a point where you don't even acknowledge your emotions and you get such a thick wall between you and anybody else that you don't let anybody hurt you. The extremes of either end are not healthy, right? You may be on one end or the other. You may have a mix of both, like myself. Wherever you are, you're not broken. You're healing. This is not your fault. You are not stupid. You shouldn't have known better. All of this stuff, it's not your fault. And anyone who tells you otherwise, in my opinion, doesn't deserve a place in your life. And I know that can be really hard to hear because honestly, a lot of the times the people that tell us it's not our fault are the people that we want so desperately to protect us. But unfortunately, either by their own beliefs and circumstances, by their own, it would force them to acknowledge their own toxic behavior. It would have to acknowledge their own victimhood in this situation. They can't do that for us. And sometimes letting those people go for a season or for long term can be one of the best things that you do. Oh my goodness. Okay, so these last two, I've talked about them both, but they are both, man, like the grind of my gears. You're being dramatic and oh my God, you're crazy. Are you okay? Have you taken your meds today? Oh my God, maybe you need to go see a doctor. This drives me crazy. And this also ties in very, very closely. I'm trying not to shake my desk because it just gets me so fired up. This ties in very, very closely with reactive abuse as well. And this is where they will poke and they will prod and they will do things until you're so mentally exhausted and you are so drained and you're so done that you respond and react and they stay calm while you seem like the abusive one. And they get to go, oh my God, why are you yelling at me? Why are you screaming at me? It's really no big deal. Why are you reacting this way? Can't you just get over it? Oh my God, see, this is why, do you see what I have to put up with? This could also be done in private where it's meant to get in your head. This could also be done in a public setting to make others around you believe that you're the problem and they're the victim in the situation. This was particularly seen in the Gabby Petito case. That's a whole nother soapbox for another day. But y'all, recognizing gaslighting is so incredibly important. So these are the more, sorry, got an itch. I got like bug bites. We just moved across the country and I'm getting eaten alive. So these are the more obvious forms of gaslighting that I've talked about, where they blatantly say things to you. They tell you the sky is green when it's actually blue. They're telling you that your feelings are wrong, but they can also be more covert, more underlying than that. So it could be someone saying something to you and then acting like they never said it. This is something that I can speak to a lot because I've been single for a very long time. I've been single for almost 5 years, but I was in and out of like these situationships. I hate that word. I hate that word so much, but there's no real other explanation for it. And all of them toxic. And because I found myself going right back down in the spiral and I was like, oh, nope, we got to pull ourselves out of that. I've been out of the dating world for a little over a year now. But a common denominator was them saying that they said things to me or them saying things to me and then acting like they didn't say it. And so the thing that I can't stand about myself and my trauma is that I remember a lot. And I remember a scary amount of things, not because I want to, but because my brain just does for my own psychological safety for cases like this. I was having a conversation with someone, and this time it was over text, and they said that we were going to go and do something. And the time had come, I asked about it, and they said, well, no, I never said that. I wouldn't have said that because X, Y, and Z. This was not a simple case of, oh, I forgot. This is a whole pattern. Bear with me. And eventually they said, we just got into an argument and I said, no, here, let me scroll back. Well, I scrolled back to a week prior and we texted a lot. I took a screenshot. I sent the screenshot and then they accused me of manipulating the screenshot. Like in the matter of that 45 seconds it took me, went into Photoshop or some editor and changed the wording around. And then once, I told them to go back on their own app, I was like, I didn't do that. They then were like, well, I didn't mean it that way. I didn't mean we'd actually go, even though they said that they were going to get tickets. But again, that's a whole nother soapbox. But these are little things that they do to get in our head. Even arguing with you and telling you that you altered a screenshot that you took 45 seconds ago. Gaslighting runs deep. Yes, it's the overt stuff, but the covert things as well are what we really need to pay attention to. And I didn't mean it like that is more important than we realize, because there is something in my eye. They will say things to us that are toxic, that are abusive, that are putting us down, that are making us feel terrible. And eventually we have enough, right? And we're like, I'm not putting up with this anymore. This is it. We're done. And then they come back and say, oh, I didn't mean it like that. I was having a bad day and maybe I shouldn't have said it like that, but really I meant it like this. I'm sorry that you misunderstood. I'm sorry that you feel like it that way. I'm sorry that you took it that way. It's all about you, right? And not them taking responsibility for what they said. And this is how they will eventually hoover us back in. They'll suck us back in and keep us in this unhealthy dynamic. Video on that coming soon as well. I mentioned this earlier, but chronic victimization is also something else that we've got to pay attention to. I have a lot of experience in this department. It's one of the number one things that got to me. And this chronic victimization is, well, I'm just the worst boyfriend on the planet. You should just leave me. I'm sorry, I'm so awful. I'm the worst. I don't know why you're with me. I just suck. Y'all, this used to work on me. And I think back and sometimes I want to go back and smack myself. Not really, because she past me was struggling. And so I know that she deserves grace, but now I'm just like, I don't fall for that anymore. Like, I'll just walk away. I will not tolerate this kind of behavior. And what this does is they are making you feel guilty for letting them know how you feel. Instead of taking responsibility for their actions, they are putting the responsibility of their emotions on you. This can also be, and this is a really tough topic, and this is something that needs to be talked about more because it is complicated, but people will threaten to hurt themselves or unalive themselves in order to get you to stay or in order to get you to change your behavior. This is chronic victimization. This is gaslighting. And as someone who has survived multiple attempts and has lost people who have taken their life, I don't take those threats lightly. So I find it infuriating when people use that as a way to manipulate you. There's no easy, clear-cut way to know if this is what's happening. But if this is a continual pattern, and you are noticing that every time you bring up your feelings and how you feel, they threaten to hurt themselves, the best thing that you can do for both of you is to alert the authorities, let someone else know, let someone know who could help them, and then block on everything and walk away. And I know that that's hard because I know there's a lot of things running through your mind. It's, what if they do it and I don't want to, what if it is my fault? What if they tell someone else it's my fault? What if? As terrible as this sounds out of context, hear me in context. Their life and their safety is not your responsibility. They are not your child and you are not required to provide for them. Period. End of story. And that sucks to say as much as it sucks to hear, trust me. But it's not our job to continually put up with manipulation and abuse because of someone else's either empty or non-empty threats. That is not something that you can fix. That is something that they need to work on with a professional. So many soapboxes. I was like, I'm going to do an overview. I'm not going to dive right in, but look at this. We're just going all in. So essentially, anything that manipulates you out of what you're currently feeling, out of what you're seeing, out of what you're experiencing is gaslighting. It can also be, oh, this one's really good. I forgot to bring this up earlier. It can also be, well, I don't care how you feel. I bought you a gift, so you shouldn't be mad at me. You owe it to me to not be upset. You owe it to me to deal with my crappy behavior because I bought you dinner. You owe it to me to give me your body because I bought you a drink at a bar. I could talk about that all day long. But this is, I did something for you, therefore anything I do has to be acceptable. Whether it is a shirt, whether it's a video game, whether it's a movie, whether it's a $1,000 drawer, whatever it is. You are priceless, boo. You know, no one can buy the ability to disrespect you. You don't need to feel guilty. I don't care how much money they spent on you. I don't care how much time they spent on you. I don't care how much effort they spent on you. If they are not respecting you, that's it. I want you to think about it this way. And this has really, really helped me as I begin to process and move forward with this. You would not walk into Gucci with $1. Well, I guess it's $1.25 now because they raised their prices. You wouldn't walk into Gucci with $1.25, $2 with tax, and be like, this bag, it's like $700, it's $1,200, it's $5,000. I don't have that, but I got $2, so give it to me. Give me. They would love you right out of the store. And if you argued, they'd call security and escort you out of the store. I worked at a Coach outlet store. It happens. And people do that. And they are escorted out of the store because Coach doesn't stand for it. Because Coach set their prices, Gucci set their prices, Louboutin set their prices. And they're not changing their prices just because you decided that you don't want to spend more or because you don't have the money to spend more. Right? You are Gucci. You are Prada. You are Louboutin. You are Louis Vuitton. You are, I don't know high-end brands, y'all. I don't know this stuff. But whatever name brand, you are high-end. You are a luxury item. And we need to stop letting people with dollar store energy purchase our energy when they don't have the money. We got to stop cutting deals for people who can't afford our energy. And the currency is not money. It's not dollars. The currency is respect. If someone is rolling up to you, they are rolling up to Gucci. And if they have dollar store budget, they can't afford you or your energy. If they can't afford to give you the bare minimum of respect, which is like the lowest bar, it's the cheapest item, it's the clearance item. If they can't afford the cheapest, no returns, lowest, price available, they don't deserve you and they don't deserve your energy. Period. Whether you give them your energy and you give them that is your choice. But you don't have to, and you don't have to feel guilty. Do you think Gucci and Prada and Coach is kind of on the lower end of luxury, but do you think they feel bad for charging the prices that they charge? Not at all. Not even a little bit. At all. They set their prices. And because they set their prices, they've set a standard. And because they set a standard, they know who is coming into their store to get the product that they sell. The product that you got, boo, is your energy. It is your time. And if someone is rolling up with dollar store energy, they can window shop, they can look at you, they can appreciate you, and then they can turn around and walk away. Because they can't afford you. So we got to stop handing out discounts when we are luxury. We got to start acting like it. So, and with all of that rant to say, I understand that recognizing gaslighting is really difficult because once we really begin to understand what gaslighting is and how to recognize it, we begin to see it in ourselves and we begin to see where we've done it to other people. Especially as victims of abuse, we have taken on certain behaviors because we were surrounded by it as kids. Maybe we were surrounded by it in a long-term abusive relationship and it's just gotten into our heads. Maybe it's a survival mechanism because we want to be the powerful one in the situation. Regardless, I'm not saying that these things are okay, but I am saying that you shouldn't beat yourself up if you've done it in the past. I have caught myself so many times gaslighting my son. And once I really dove into this work and I decided to heal my own ish, I had to change a lot of behaviors. I had to change how I parented. I had to change how I approached taking care of my son because I was doing things and I was acting in certain ways that were the complete opposite of the way I wanted to be. And so recognizing gaslighting is hard. So if you call people out on their gaslighting, they don't want to admit it because chances are it was done to them and it was done to them and it was done to them. Like that's something we hear all the time is, well, my mommy did it to me and my daddy did this to me and I turned out fine. And it's just, well, it doesn't make it okay. But it's an explanation. But now that you know, now that you're aware, you don't got to tolerate it. Now that you know, and now that you're aware, you got to call yourself on it. And once you get good at calling yourself on it, ooh, you are going to be unstoppable because you ain't going to let anybody else do it either. So gaslighting is super pervasive because it is accepted. Like I said, it happens all the time, everywhere, consistently. And because it's so obsessive, because it's so pervasive and all over the place, we have come to take it as normal because we believe we need to toughen people up, whatever that means, by being bullies, by lying to them, by manipulating people. We're toughening them up. Okay, because then we grow up thinking that how we feel, that natural physical responses, that the world around us, that how we respond to things, how our brain perceives things, how our brain processes things, they're wrong. And they're broken, and there's something wrong with us. And we wonder why we have an epidemic of 1 in 4 women and 1 in 5 men, which are vastly underreported numbers. I believe it's closer to 1 in 2 and 1 in 3, victims of abuse. Why so many children are victims of child abuse? Y'all, it can't get me started because I won't stop. So I hope that this shed a light on what gaslighting is and why it's so freaking important and why we gotta start calling it out for what it is, recognizing it for what it is, and not backing down when people are coming at us with that dollar store energy. We are luxury items. It's time to start acting like it. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button with the notification bell turned on because I got a lot of really fun lives coming up. I've got a lot of really amazing videos about to drop, and I'm so excited. Y'all, we're about to have some tough conversations, but in a really fun, entertaining way. Thanks for hanging out, boo. And never forget that you are strong, you are capable, you are intelligent, and boo, you are so incredibly worthy. Whether you believe it or not, it's true. Thanks for hanging out, boo. We'll talk soon.